All right, before we get started, we're going to do a quick mic check. We get a mic check. Once we get a confirmation on that, we'll go ahead and dive into today's Ask Me Anything. Just take a couple seconds here. I'm getting some smiles, so I think it sounds pretty good. Cool. Let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, hello everybody. Thanks for joining today's AMA. It's going to be pretty casual. There's not really a set agenda. It's not going to be like the onboardings that we do typically on Fridays and other times during the week during the EU time. If you haven't seen my face before, my name is Brady. I'm also here on the support team over at Ledger. I work pretty closely with Tim, who you are pretty familiar with on this show. So as I mentioned, yeah, there's not any structure. So we're just going to hang out here and check out questions in the chat and go over any questions that you have here live. And I'd be happy to kind of click around and show you exactly what things look like to troubleshoot any of your questions. But like I mentioned, nothing structured. So if we have no questions in the chat, that's totally fine too. I'll just kind of hang out over here and watch the markets and wait for questions to flow in. So thanks for joining. I see we do have a couple questions here in the chat. I'm just going to do a couple quick housekeeping things here, and then we'll dive into these questions. All right. Cool. Let's get into it. One thing I wanted to mention too is we're on YouTube, we're on social media. One thing that you never need to do in the crypto space when you are out and about doing your social media thing, talking to other people in the space, is you never, ever, ever need to give out your 24-word recovery phrase. That is something that is way too common in this space. People ask for help on these platforms. They get reached out to by scammers who are, in one way or another, get them to reveal their 24-word recovery phrase. And with that, the scammer has access to all of your accounts that are associated with that 24-word recovery phrase. So first and foremost, as we get going here, remember that whenever you're out and about on social media, no one ever needs your recovery phrase for anything, and no one at Ledger will ever ask you for it either. So keep that in mind. All right, we got some questions rolling in here. RH asks, how to get the names of the wallets on my mobile Ledger extension. It says accounts 1, 2, and 3. I'm not quite sure what you mean there, RH. If you can give me some more clarification, I would be happy to dive into that a little bit more. Cool. All right, well, we're waiting for some more questions to roll in here. And sorry if there's any latency in when you type your question and when I read it. Sometimes it takes the YouTube stream a couple minutes for me to actually see your comments. So if you typed it in, you're still waiting, there is some latency there. So all right, it does look like we have another one from Carlos. Hello. Carlos asks, on the previous live, I asked something about SCRT. I was able to transfer the token successfully. Thank you so much for the assistance. Is it possible to see the token on Ledger Live? All right, Carlos, that's great. It sounds like Tim probably was able to help you, or maybe one of the EU folks was able to help you secure your SCRT tokens with your Ledger address. So whether or not that token is going to display in Ledger Live it really depends on whether or not Ledger Live supports that token. So we do actually have a new Help Center article for supported tokens. See if I can pull it up here for you. Cool. So yeah, what I did here, I'll go ahead and switch my camera shot to Chrome. It really depends on whether. So what I did here, you can simply just Google supported tokens. So we do actually have a new Help Center article. I always look for the support for supported tokens. This is always going to be our support, our Help Center. I can pull it up here for you. We have a supported coins and tokens Help Center article. Cool. This flashy thing over here on the side is just alerting you to. Yeah, what I did here, I'll go ahead and switch my camera shot. Right now, there's some It really depends on whether. So what I did here, you can simply just Google supported tokens. So we do actually have a new. You come down here, I always look for the support in supported tokens. This is always going to be our support, our help center. I can pull it up here for you. We have a supported coins and tokens help center article. Cool. This flashy thing over here on the side, is just alerting you. We'll get rid of this. Cool. Sorry about that. All right, let me get you back to my shot. Our help center. I can pull it up here for you. We have the supported coins and tokens that you can leverage whenever you have questions about whether or not I'm going to be able to see this flashy thing over here on the side. We do support thousands and thousands and thousands of different tokens, but there are many more thousands of tokens out there. So, you know, it takes a lot of overhead to be able to implement and ongoingly support each and every one of these tokens in Ledger Live, because each one of these tokens. So we have the supported coins and tokens that you can leverage whenever you have questions about whether or not we'll be able to see. We do our best to support everything. We do support thousands and thousands. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to support as much as possible. There are, you can control thousands on this article and just type in whatever token is. It takes a lot of overhead to be able to implement and ongoingly support each and every one of these. So it looks like we have Live, because each one of these tokens looks different. So we have the supported coins and tokens that you can leverage. Every these articles about whether or not we'll be able to support everything. We do support thousands and thousands. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to support as much as possible. You're already connected to MetaMask. We can control thousands on this tokens to your Ledger token. It takes a lot of overhead to be able to implement and support each and every one of these tokens. So it looks like we have to be able to view each one of these tokens looks different. So we have the supported coins and tokens that you can leverage. Every these articles about whether or not we'll be able to support thousands and thousands. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to support as much as possible. You're already connected to, especially with control thousands on this token to your Ledger token. It's a lot of able to see this token continue to rely on support each and every one of these tokens. It looks like we have to be able to view each one of these tokens looks different. So we have the supported coins and tokens that you can leverage. Every these articles about whether or not we'll be able to support so in the future we'll be able to support as much as possible. Especially control thousands on this token. It's a lot of able to see this token continue to rely on each and every one of these tokens. It looks like we have to leverage. So typically with these V2 tokens, our development team will be on it in terms of including the new smart contract address, the new token address, excuse me, into Ledger Live, so that you'll be able to view tokens for that new token address. I'm not sure specifically about Gala, if that's top of mind for them right now, but I can definitely submit a ticket internally with them as well to double check on that. But yeah, Gala is an Ethereum token, so even if it's not automatically supported in Ledger Live when that time comes, we'll definitely have a submission in there for them, and it should be pretty quick to add. And hopefully we can see that added in a future version of Ledger Live. Let's see. Yeah, so lots of questions about coin and token support, and OP, Gala, ARB. Yeah, so when it comes down to token support, it really comes down to a few things. Really, we internally can submit tickets for certain tokens, especially when it's Ethereum tokens. They're, like I mentioned, they're pretty easy to implement. We do actually have a token submission form that is open to the public. If you go to, I think it's our Donjon. So if you go to Donjon, here, let's go ahead and pull it up and show you guys what it looks like. Pull it up here, and let's see. Let's go ahead and pull it up and show you guys what it looks like. So this is a public website, just developers.ledger.com. We also refer to a lot of stuff going on with our developers. We refer to like this side of the organization kind of this team, like the Don John, because they're really into making sure that everything that is implemented into Ledger Live is secure, safe, and up to Ledger standards. So you can actually see that there is a token submissions form. So this is a public website. Just developers go ahead and fill out this token submission form. We also refer to a lot of stuff going on with our developers. We refer to like this network side of the organization is obviously very popular right now. So this team, like the Don John, I could see future that being supported in the very near future, but from the tech support perspective, I just don't really have the insight into the developer's timeline. So any tokens that I see here, I'll definitely fill out in the token submission form, and hopefully we can see those added into Ledger Live. But yeah, Gala is already supported. OP, the Ethereum token, is probably already supported. Again, you can just search it here. The Optimism network itself is obviously not supported, but I'm sure the Ethereum token, the Ethereum version of it already is, I would assume. So try to spell out Optimism. Oh, okay, maybe not. Maybe the ERC is 20 version of it is not yet in there. But yeah, like I said, we can definitely fill out those token submission forms. So they're not too difficult. Brett Richardson asks, how many Ledger Nano X's and S's can you hook into a version of Ledger Live? That's a really good question. Cool. Let's look at Ledger Live for a minute here. So really the answer is as many as you want, right? Ledger Live is really just a tool to view the accounts that are associated with the recovery phrase currently stored on the Nano device that's connected to it. So right now you see in my Ledger Live, this is my work Ledger Live, just kind of my testing environment. So all of these accounts are associated to the recovery phrase that's on my Ledger Nano X. So if I were to go in here and let's see. If I were to go in here and actually just add another account, for my Nano S Plus, you'll see that I can actually add different accounts. So right now I have my main Ethereum account there. Let me just go ahead and unlock my Nano. Wow, that was lucky. Let's see. Sometimes when you're entering your PIN code, it just lands on all the exact numbers that you need, and that's kind of nice. Pretty lucky. But anyway, so I got my Nano here unlocked, and if I go ahead and open the Ethereum app, and then in Ledger Live, I go and add another Ethereum account. I take a couple minutes for it to sync. Cool. So this will be, I'll just call this my Nano, my LNS plus Ethereum, just for the time being. Cool. So these are actually two different accounts from two different recovery phrases. So this is for the recovery phrase that's currently on my Nano X, and this one is for the recovery phrase that's currently on my Nano S Plus that's connected. And you could do this for as many different devices and different recovery phrases that you want. All it really comes down to is the recovery phrase, right? Like Ledger Live doesn't really care what kind of device it is, or let me go back to the main shot. It doesn't really care what kind of device it is, or really anything else. All it cares about is it says, hey, Nano that's connected, give me the public address, the public information associated with your recovery phrase. And that's all your Nano is ever going to give it, right? It's just the public information. The whole security aspect of the Nano is that the private information, your private keys and your recovery phrase, never leaves a secure element. So with that request, all it does is it sends Ledger Live your public address so that Ledger Live can use that to pull information from the blockchain and show you your account on the blockchain. So all this really is just a way to visualize your accounts on the blockchain. So you can connect as many devices with as many different recovery phrases that you want. Just know that the account you're adding is associated with the recovery phrase currently loaded onto the connected device. That's very important to remember. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, Rhett Richardson asks another question here. He says, and with third-party wallets, when set up through Ledger, I still have Ledger Security. Is that right? Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. So your Ledger Nano, it doesn't trust Ledger Live any more than it would trust like MetaMask, for example, right? So your Ledger Nano and Ledger Live are two different beasts, right? They're built obviously by the same company. Ledger made both of them, but they're two separate things. So your Nano does one thing: it keeps your recovery phrase and your private keys secure, and it helps you manually sign transactions, physically sign transactions. Whereas Ledger Live is more on the visual side, right? So it's helping you build those transactions, select what you want to do with your accounts, and then once you're ready to broadcast a transaction, then that's when you actually use the Nano. So the Nano doesn't trust Ledger Live. It doesn't trust anything that it's connected to. So when you connect it to, say, for example, MetaMask or maybe Phantom or some of those other online wallets, if you connect it to one of those wallets as well, it doesn't trust those wallets either. So the only information it's giving Ledger Live and the only information it's giving these other wallets is only the public information. So it'll never ever reveal your private information to any of the applications that it's connected to. So yes, that's a long way of answering your question, that when you're using your Ledger Nano with these other wallets, you still have Ledger Security. The one thing that you don't get when you're signing outside of Ledger Live, except when you're using Ledger Extension, is clear signing. So when you're using your Ledger Nano with Ledger Live and you're building transactions in Ledger Live, you're actually able to clear sign on the device. And what that is you're actually going to be able to see the human readable information about that transaction, right? When you're out using other third-party wallets with your Nano, the hardware wallet can't really read smart contract information, doesn't know how to do that. So you just get some bits and pieces of information, but it's nothing to like actually tell you what is happening within that transaction, which can be risky, right? You could be signing something with malicious intent, but you don't really know because you can't really see what's happening, right? Because the device isn't displaying that to you. So that's why when you're using dApps and things like that outside of Ledger Live, you really want to be asking yourself, hey, do I trust this dApp? Do I trust what I am in signing on this website? So, of course, things like OpenSea, you could probably trust that, right? That's probably a trustworthy place to make transactions. But if you're off on some obscure DeFi odd place on the internet, maybe there's not as much confidence there. But that's definitely a judgment call that you as a person would have to make. But the point being is in Ledger Live, you get that peace of mind that whatever you're signing in Ledger Live with your Ledger Nano device, you're going to be able to have that human readable information so that you know exactly what's going to happen with that transaction. All right. Oh, okay. Looks like we're having some bad audio. Hmm. See if we can get a sound check. One moment, guys. We're going to see if we can get a quick sound check. We'll be right back. All right, and we are back. we did a quick sound check and it looks like everything sounds fine. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Um, let's try it just one more time while we're running live. I'm gonna run it one more time. Will you give me a thumbs up if it sounds okay on your end? Cool. Get this quick sound check now that we're still running live, and once I get a thumbs up over there, we'll go ahead and keep going. Yeah, I'm getting thumbs up all around, so we're gonna keep going here. Sorry for anybody who was having some audio difficulties there. We'll definitely play it back, and maybe there was a bit of a blip there that we can. Huh? Oh, only while screen share. Okay. All right, sorry, buddy. Let's get this figured out really quick. We'll be right back. Oh, only while screen share. Okay. All right, sorry, buddy. Let's get this figured out really quick. We'll be right back. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the screen share element. We'll just go ahead and do things just personal. We'll just go you and I here, and I'll try to explain everything without showing you what it looks like on the computer. But yeah, sorry about that. We'll definitely look into that. We've been having a lot of changes to our audio studio setup here, so hopefully we can have things smoothed out in the future, in the near future. So let's just keep going when it's just on this screen here, and I'll do my best to answer your questions without showing you what it looks like in Ledger Live and stuff like that. All right. So Crawbillies asks, thanks in advance. I'm going to go through some of these pretty quickly since we lost a little bit of time. So we'll go through some of these pretty quickly and dive into the ones that we need to dive into. So Crawbillies asks, thanks in advance. What's the possibility of AI figuring out our 24-word recovery phrase from only 200 or 2,400 words? That's a good question. The answer is extremely low. The amount of different 24 word combinations there are out of the list of 2048 words that you're referring to is incredibly high. It's not even a number that we as humans can comprehend. A lot of people like to point out the statistic that there's more combinations of 24 word recovery phrases than there are atoms in the observable universe. So that's a really high number and not a number that any sort of computing power that we are currently aware of could even crack. So if there ever comes a time in the far off future where that statement is no longer a reality, our cryptography standards and things like that will have to evolve with that new world that we live in. So, but as of right now, that capability is just not there. Crypto Puppet asks, is this going to be uploaded so I can watch calmly at work? Yeah, we'll definitely. This will be on our page, so you can always refer back to it. And hopefully you can fast forward through the crazy parts where the audio is not right. Let's see. Hello, I cannot see the passwords in the app, Thomas asks. In the app catalog, has it been discontinued? The passwords app, wow, I've been here for quite a bit, but even that app might predate me. I haven't heard of the passwords app before. Assuming you're referring to an app in the app catalog within Ledger Live. So yeah, I'm not sure if you can give me a little bit more information about what kind of app you're looking for or what kind of functionality you're looking for. Maybe it was something that was retired for some other product or app that we put out. So Thomas, if you can give me some information about what your goal is, what you're trying to do, maybe I can point you towards the right apps or services that can help you out. All right, let's see. Kevin Tan asks, hi guys, can you explain recovery phrase, account in Ledger Live, and coins, and how do they work? That's a really good question. I actually really like that question because those are all buzzwords that are thrown out a lot when we're talking about crypto and ledger and hardware and stuff, right? There's these buzzwords, which are recovery phrase, right? Account, address, all of these different things. And it can be a little bit confusing how they all work together. So it really starts the top, right? It starts with your 24-word recovery phrase. And what that is it's essentially like a seed. You can think of your 24-word recovery phrase like an actual seed, a seed that would grow something. And the roots of that seed are your accounts on the blockchain. So you have different accounts on the blockchain that you can use for various different cryptos, right? So your 24-word recovery phrase is the seed of that root system of all of these different accounts, meaning every account on the blockchain belongs to its own paternal seed. And the account on the blockchain is the account and the address can sometimes be used interchangeably, especially with account-based networks like Ethereum. So you'll refer to your Ethereum account when that's just really referring to like your first Ethereum address, right? So within this root system for Ethereum addresses, for example, you might have, you'll have hundreds of thousands. I think it goes up to like over 1 million different accounts are derived from a single seed phrase, like for Ethereum. So when you talk about account, like your account is that first list of accounts in that address. And then when you're talking about Ledger Live is really just a place to visualize those accounts, right? You're never going to see your recovery phrase in Ledger Live or really anywhere. Once it's in the Nano device, you're not really ever going to see it again, except for on that physical piece of paper. But Ledger Live is really that tool to visualize those accounts on the blockchain that are associated with that paternal seed phrase. So that's kind of the relationship between those three things. I hope that brings a little bit of clarity. And then, you also mentioned coins. So your coins and your tokens are these currencies and things on the blockchain that people can send back and forth to each other. And they're sending back and forth these coins and these tokens between different accounts, right? Between different addresses. So Ledger Live is able to show you your account on the blockchain and then how much coins or tokens are associated with that account on the blockchain. So all of your coins and your tokens and your accounts, they all live on the blockchain. Everything is on the blockchain. And Ledger Live is just a tool to visualize those things on the blockchain. Okay, so now I'm getting into where there was some bad audio. So dang, I'm really sorry about that, guys. I really want to get that figured out for us so we don't run into that in the future. All right, Kevin Tan with a good question. Kevin Tan asks, how can I avoid the 24 words from being stolen? It's a good question. And sorry, I'm just laughing at some of these comments. You guys are hilarious. Really sorry about that. That's funny. We'll definitely get that figured out, so the next stream will be much smoother. All right, back to Kevin's question. How can I avoid the 24 seeds from being stolen? So what they're asking is, hey, how can I make sure that my recovery phrase doesn't become compromised? How can I make sure that nobody else is going to have access to it? And I'm glad that is one of your first thoughts when coming into this stream, right? That's top of mind for you is how do I protect this thing? Because that thing, the 24-word recovery phrase, is the most important thing in crypto, right? That is your backup to all of your accounts that are associated with it on the blockchain. So with that recovery phrase, you can access any accounts associated with it. But whoever has a copy of it also has the same amount of access. So, say you have your recovery phrase and maybe you own Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, right? You can gain access to any of those three different coins using your 24-word recovery phrase. And the crazy thing is you don't even, once you have your 24-word recovery phrase, you technically don't need Ledger to access your funds, right? It's the most secure way to access your funds is using Ledger. But if you're stuck in a rock and a hard place and you only have your 24-word recovery phrase and no Ledger device or Ledger Live, you can still access your accounts by restoring a different wallet provider with your 24-word recovery phrase, right? So a way to think about it is your 24-word recovery phrase is generic, right? This Nano device isn't providing you with a unique Ledger specific recovery phrase. Something like that doesn't really exist. Of course, we do have our own high level of entropy and things like that, in ensuring that the recovery phrases that are derived are truly random, right? But in terms of it being like a Ledger branded recovery phrase, that's not the case. All recovery phrases are generic. So once you have your recovery phrase from your device, you could use a different wallet that follows the same recovery phrase generation standard as Ledger and gain access to the exact same accounts. So for example, say you own Solana, right? You stored Solana, secured it with your Ledger Nano. You no longer have your Nano, but you have your 24-word recovery phrase. You can restore a Solana-based wallet, say Phantom, for example, with your 24-word recovery phrase and gain access to the exact same accounts that you used to see in Ledger Live. So that's really powerful, right? That means that whoever has your 24-word recovery phrase can go out and do that and gain access to your funds. So how do you keep that thing safe? Well, the first thing is to always keep it offline. That's number one, right? Some of you folks in here have probably heard this time and time and again, so it might be old news, but that's really the key here is to keep that recovery phrase offline. And you start out by, I think I have one here somewhere. This is a fake recovery phrase. You should never see one on any kind of camera. Well, it's not fake. It's just one that we just use and it's empty. But first, you start out by writing your 24 words down on a sheet of paper. I know there's somebody in who is probably like screen capturing this and double checking, but I can assure you this is empty. But anyway, you start out by, when you generate your 24 words with the device, and then you start out by writing it down on paper, and we provide you some really sleek cards to store your recovery phrase on paper, right? It's in the physical world, it's not in the digital world. And the recovery phrase that's on the device, this is an offline device. This device will not allow any sort of network connection to interact with the secure element. And the secure element is what stores and secures your recovery phrase. A secured element will never come in contact with any sort of internet connection. So that's how you keep it offline. And what you want to keep in mind is you don't want to go beyond that, right? You don't want to store a copy on a file on your computer, or take a photo of it with your phone, or email it to yourself. You don't want to do anything like that because that's digitizing your recovery phrase. Now you have multiple attack vectors. If you were to do that, you'd have multiple attack vectors where people could hack into your machine, install malware on your computer that would then give them access to the file that contained that recovery phrase. Then they would have full access to your funds, as we had talked about earlier. So you always want to keep that thing offline. And the only thing that your recovery phrase should ever touch really is a sheet of paper and your Ledger Nano. We do also have products that you can buy on shop.ledger.com. We have things like the bill fodder, and I wish we had one here. I don't have one here in the studio. We actually have another product as well that helps you put your recovery phrase in something that's a little more permanent than paper. So it's just another way to securely store your recovery phrase in the physical world and not have to store it digitally, because you never want to store it digitally. It's interesting because even if you were to take a photo of it on your phone, right? You think, well, hey, nobody's gonna have access to my phone. But think about it. How many apps have you installed from the App Store that was like, hey, can we have access to your photos? And you just click yes to proceed with the app. Well, if you had taken a photo of your recovery phrase and then just gave some app access to your photos, whoever runs that app would have access to that photo that contains your recovery phrase, right? So you never even want to take a photo of it with your smartphone or really anything that has a network connection. So that's kind of the bread and butter of how to keep your recovery phrase safe. You also want to consider things like you never want to enter it into any sort of website or form online. And of course, never give it out to anybody who claims that they need it. Not even Ledger will need your recovery phrase for anything that is solely yours, and no one should ever have access to it. So I hope that helps. If you have any follow-up questions about that, feel free to throw them in the chat. All right, Drew says, I never received the confirmation that I claimed my Stacks NFT a few months ago. I heard online that there was an update email about Stacks shipping delay, but I never received that or saw an official post. Okay. Yeah, so there was some communication that went out over email about Stacks a little bit ago. So I think the best thing for you to do, let's see. Yeah, the first thing that I'm wondering is maybe if you use multiple emails, just make sure that you're checking the email that you use to pre-order your stacks. Oh, you mentioned the stacks NFT. Okay. Um, yeah, let's see. I think you should be able to go to. You never received a confirmation email either. Turn online there was an update email. Okay. I think we might want to have you submit a support ticket so that we can grab your token ID for the NFT that you claimed, and with that, we should be able to figure out what your where your order is. We may need some other information, some personal information I don't want to ask you here, like your shipping address and things like that that were used, and then we should be able to pull that up for you and provide you with some information. I don't know if we specifically from support won't be able to trigger that email to go back out to you, but we will be able to help you locate your order and so that you can view it on your order overview page, and then you can monitor when that shipment is. So definitely submit a ticket with us at support.ledger.com and with your token ID and your Ethereum address, and we'll be able to help you out. All right, Rick Caruso asks, Casper has its own network, doesn't it? On my Nano, it says 2 Ethereum accounts. What is happening? What is happening, Rick? Let's see. Yeah, Casper does have its own network, but the Casper network is not supported in Ledger Live, so you won't actually be able to view and manage native Casper accounts through Ledger. But we do have the Casper app within Ledger Live that it's in the Discover tab of Ledger Live. It's in the app catalog, so you can actually install the Casper app on your Nano, and then you can use the Casper wallet. I don't even know if it's a wallet. Let's see here. I wish I could show you guys, but I definitely don't want to mess up the audio again. Network. I think it's actually just their Explorer that you connect to. It's kind of like TronScan. Make sure that I'm right here. Ecosystem documentation. Let's see, Casper web wallet. Maybe it's just a web wallet. ESPR web wallet. Oh, I see. Yeah, they did a lot of rebranding, didn't they? Yeah, Casper looks a little bit different. Cool. I remember when this first started getting popular. Casper Explorer. I think it's maybe the Explorer that I'm thinking about. Yeah, right here. Sign in. Yeah, see, this is pretty cool. I'll just switch over so I can show you what it looks like, but I won't say anything, and then I'll switch back here. Let's take a quick peek. Casper Explorer. I think it's maybe the Explorer that I'm thinking about. Yeah, right here. Cool. Hopefully that didn't mess up the audio too much. But yeah, so that's what I use for Casper. Is you just install the Casper app on your Ledger Nano, and then you can go to cspr.live/sign-in, and you can actually connect your Ledger wallet directly to their Explorer. Very similar to like Tron Scan. If you used Tron Scan before, you can connect your wallet directly to the Explorer. I actually really like that. I love that that use of the Explorer is just connecting your wallet directly to it. So yeah, from there you can view and manage native Casper using that Casper app. So that's what I would do if I were you. I don't have any ETA or anything of when the Casper network will be natively supported in Ledger Live, if ever. Just there's no ETA or any updates on our end. All right. All right. Victoria asks, I have not received my ARP tokens into my ledger. I'm not. There could be a couple things going on there. So it could be. It just depends on what exactly you mean. Did you send Arbitrum to your Ledger Ethereum address, or were you expecting to be included in the airdrop? If you can give me a little bit more context about what you mean by not receiving ARB tokens, I'd be happy to attack that because I could. There's kind of two different things that could be going on there. So let me know. Sherry asks, try to add account for Solana, but keep getting this error, API HTTP 503. Yeah, so we have been having quite a few inconsistencies with our Solana backend services. It's something that we've been diving heavily into, and hopefully we can have that smoothed out soon in the future. But yeah, right now, a lot of folks are encountering that error when they're trying to add Solana accounts, send and receive Solana and stuff in Ledger Live. The best thing to do is to make sure that your Ledger Live is up to date. If you're using desktop, we recently rolled out a newer version, which is 2.57. If you're using mobile, the latest version is 3.20, and we just pushed that out yesterday. So mobile is brand new. Make sure that you're up to date on Ledger Live, and then if you did need to update, go ahead and retry. If it's still not working, feel free to clear your cache. You can clear your cache by going to Settings, which is at the top right-hand corner of Ledger Live, and then go to Help, the Help tab, and then from there it says Clear Cache, and go ahead and click Clear Cache. You can do that a few times. You can clear your cache and then retry, and then clear your cache again and retry. Honestly, I was trying to add a Solana account the other day, and after I tried about 3 or 4 times, it finally let me add it. I know that's not optimal. It's definitely not what the experience that we want people to have in Ledger Live right now. So we are actively working to fix that and to smooth out those. Really, I believe it's really just synchronization issues with Solana. So yeah, definitely not the intended experience that we want. We are working on it, but in the meantime, you can kind of force it by just clearing your cache and retrying. But at the end of the day, you could also connect your Ledger Nano to Phantom, which is a Solana-based wallet. And from there, you would be able to view and manage the exact same account that you would have added in Ledger Live. And then once we smooth out all that stuff in Ledger Live, you'll be able to add that account and kind of go on with your Solana stuff there. Cool, we're getting some emotes in the chat. Absolutely love that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Skyfall asks, can we test the password phrase easy? If you're asking, hey, can I double check that my recovery phrase is accurate? Yes, you can absolutely do that. And by recovery phrase, I mean like your 24-word recovery phrase, like the one that you wrote down on paper. Yeah, you actually can. You can. There is what's called the Recovery Check app in the app catalog of Ledger Live. So just go ahead and connect your Nano to your computer, open Ledger Live, and head over to the My Ledger tab. From there, you'll be able to search various apps like Bitcoin, Ethereum, but there's also other apps that you can use with your Nano, like this Recovery Check app. So you can install that app, and what it will let you do is you can actually enter on your Nano device, one of the only places you should ever enter your recovery phrase. You can enter your recovery phrase that you have written down onto the device using the Recovery Check app, and the app will tell you, hey, whatever you just entered, it'll say yes or no whether or not that is the recovery phrase it's currently holding. So this will let you know that, okay, yep, I recorded my recovery phrase correctly because I got yes from the device. The device says, no, that's invalid, wrong recovery phrase. That means whatever you just entered, whatever you have written down is not the correct recovery phrase for that device. So hope that helps. Awareness says Ledger doesn't support Hedera hash graph. It's impossible to receive and store it on the Ledger wallet. So yeah, so we do support Hedera for sending and receiving. But one of the things about Ledger Live is it doesn't, how do I explain it? Like, so when you derive accounts, right? When you derive accounts from the seed, so to speak, or whatever, that really happens at the application level, at the wallet level, right? So, for example, Ledger Live and these other tools may use different derivation paths, so to speak. So you'll be adding a different list of accounts depending on what derivation path is used. Meaning, so when it comes to adding your account for the first time and like seeing your account in a wallet, that process happens at the application level, right? The application is making that happen. And Ledger Live doesn't know how to derive. I feel like derive isn't even technically the right term, but it doesn't know how to like generate your Hedera hash graph account, right? It doesn't know how to fetch it because it doesn't know how to fetch hash graph things for hash, it doesn't know hash graph. It doesn't know how to fetch hash graph account so that you can actually see that account and interact with it. So what you can do though is you can install the Hedera app on your Nano and connect your Nano to a Hedera compatible wallet, specifically the Hashpack, the Hedera compatible wallet. And that wallet will fetch your account for the first time for you because it knows how to do it. Ledger Live doesn't know how to do it, it knows how to do it. And once it's there and in existence and you can view it and see it and send money to it, then you can import that account to Ledger Live so that you can see that account, view that account, send and receive HBAR from that account through Ledger Live. So the only thing Ledger Live really isn't supporting here is that first creating that account. It just doesn't know how to create that account. But like I said, Hashpack can do that for you. And we have full documentation on that. I'll go ahead and throw it in the chat here. All right. Awareness. There you go. So yeah, that should help you out there, awareness. But yeah, there is another layer here. There was an outage with Hedera. I think it started yesterday. Not sure if it's cleaned up yet. Let me check the Hedera status. Yeah, there was an outage. I believe it was yesterday, with us being able to connect to the Hedera network. I'm not sure if it's cleaned up yet. Honestly, I haven't circled back to that and got caught up. But yeah, if it's not working and if you can't use it through Ledger Live, obviously you can still use Hashpack like you do when you first create that account, because you'll be using the same account through Hashpack as you would see in Ledger Live, and we should have that cleared up relatively quickly. These typically aren't issues that are too ongoing. So yeah, I hope that helps. If you need any other clarifying, if you have any other clarifying questions about that, feel free to let me know. All right, Steve says that he is having problems staking Tron. He's getting an error message in Ledger Live when I try to sign. Yeah, so Tron recently upgraded its staking and a whole bunch of other things. So Tron staking is actually no longer available in Ledger Live ever since Tron staking 2.0. I think is what they're calling it, 2.0. So yeah, we don't offer Tron staking in Ledger Live 2.57 anymore, which is the latest version of Ledger Live. So you can still connect your Nano to TronLink, and from TronLink you can view and manage your Tron staking. I'll go ahead and get you that help center article as well. All right, Steve, coming at you with this. So yeah, there you go, Steve. That should help you out since you can't manage your stake, your Tron stake in Ledger Live anymore. I hope to see Tron staking come back to Ledger Live, but I don't have any sort of ETA about that, or if that's even on our radar for the developers right now. But TronLink is great. I love using TronLink. So it's a great website. It's really slick, easy to use. So if you have any problems with that, though, feel free to reach out to us on our support.ledger.com. Or come back here one of these other weeks, and would be happy to keep helping you. Yvonne says, my WebRoot software says that there is an active memory leak in my ledger. What should I do? I don't really know what WebRoot is, and I can assure you there's no memory leak from the ledger device. But yeah, if you can provide some more context behind that, I'd be happy to help. But yeah, I can assure you nothing is leaking from your ledger device. Yeah, Drew, happy to help. Yeah, let me know if you still need some more help there. Could you give me my ledger stack sooner? Red Pill Dog, yes, I cannot wait for ledger stacks to ship. It's going to be exciting. Kevin Tan asks, if I lost 23 seeds, do you think someone have... Oh, okay, so if you're saying, hey, if somebody has 23 of my 24 words, could they find the last word? Yeah, probably. Yeah, if somebody had... Your assets aren't really going to be safe just by storing, only having one word. If somebody has 23 of the 24 words, it'd be pretty simple to write a script to be able to figure out what that 24th word is to gain access to your accounts. So your 24th word is also the checksum, so it makes it even easier because there can only be, with the checksum, there could only be so many, there's only so many options of words that could be the 24th word based off of the other 23. So yeah, it would be pretty easy. You don't want to lose any of your words. Rob Billies asks, why would Ledger Live on one account show one amount, on your phone show another amount? It's good. Yeah, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. This is typically due to out of date software. So I think is what you're asking is, hey, I have an account in Ledger Live on desktop, and I also have it in my Ledger Live on mobile, but it's showing two different balances. What's going on? Yeah, this can happen if one of the two, or maybe both of them, are out of date. So Ledger Live needs to be up to date to be able to accurately sync with blockchain data. So if it's out of date, our APIs are out of date, we're not pulling in, that out of date application isn't pulling in the most accurate information from the blockchain. So, your desktop Ledger Live could be up to date, pulling in your accurate information, but your mobile device is out of date. and it's pulling in older historical information. So then there's some discrepancies there, or it could be vice versa. So first thing to check in those situations is that both applications are up to date. Ledger Live Desktop right now is 2.57, and Ledger Live Mobile is 3.20. Checking Ledger Live Mobile is super easy. Just search Ledger Live in your Google Play or your App Store, and the App Store will tell you if there's any updates available. Honestly, 90% of people on mobile have auto updates, so I'm sure your mobile is up to date. So the next thing to do would be to check your desktop version. In Ledger Live Desktop, you can go to Settings, you can go to Help, you go to Settings, go to About, and then it'll tell you the version. The version should be 2.57. If it's not 2.57, you should for sure have an orange banner that says, hey, there's an update available, please install it. So definitely install the update. If not, you can go to ledger.com and reinstall Ledger Live directly from ledger.com, and that'll act as an update, retain all of your current settings, and you should be good to go there. Oh, Drew also says clear cache. Absolutely. Yeah, if everything's up to date and it's still not working, that's a really good point, Drew. Clear cache in both installments of Ledger Live on mobile and on desktop, and that may help as well. Casper staking. I'm not really sure, honestly. I haven't ever staked Casper with a hardware wallet. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if the Casper app has the staking functions included in the current app, or if it's just for sending and receiving Casper. I'm not really sure. I haven't tried it myself. That is a good question. I'll dive into that, and I'll give that information to Tim, and maybe he can put it in the next one or something in the next broadcast. Bill asks, I can't claim my Flare rewards through MetaMask/Ledger off Flare Oracle. Is there a tutorial out there? Yeah, we do have a tutorial for claiming Flare. So right here, I got it right here for you, Bill. So there's the article for claiming your Flare tokens. And of course, like every airdrop, there were certain parameters that were required for you to get an airdrop of Flare. So assuming that you were eligible for that airdrop and it was dropped to your Ledger Ethereum address, here is how you can go and check and claim that airdrop, and you should be good to go. And we do, Flare is supported in Ledger Live, so you can actually add the Flare app in Ledger Live, so you can view and manage those tokens in Ledger Live. So you should be good. All right, yeah, lots of questions coming in. Let's see. Lulu Jones asks, multi-part question, when will the Nano S be discontinued? And how do we access our funds with a different wallet phrase? Yeah, so as you know, the Nano S has been sunset. It's a retired device. We're no longer selling and producing. We're not producing and selling that product on ledger.com. There are lots of resellers out there who still have the Nano S in stock, and you can probably find it on Amazon and stuff as well too. But yeah, in terms of actually supporting that product, right? I don't have any sort of timeline for when we will stop pushing firmware updates and app updates and stuff that are compatible with the Nano S. So since I don't have that information, something like that might be off in the future. But rest assured, no matter what happens to any of the hardware devices, you will always have access to your funds with your 24-word recovery phrase. So in an alternate universe, if Ledger Live didn't exist, or your Ledger didn't exist, but you still had that 24-word recovery phrase, you could restore a variety of other hardware wallets and software wallets that that follow the same recovery phrase generation standard as Ledger and gain access to the exact same funds. So rest assured, you will always have access to your funds, and we'll be here to help you use your Nano S to access your funds. And yeah, to the second half of your question, I kind of alluded to it already. As long as you have that 24-word recovery phrase written on paper, no matter what happens to your Nano or anything else, as long as you have that 24-word recovery phrase, you can purchase a different Ledger Nano, or you could purchase a different hardware wallet that follows the same standard and be able to gain access to those funds. Oh, thanks for helping out, Ben. I might have missed Victoria's clarification. Let's see. Let's try to get to some new folks who haven't gotten their questions answered yet. Yeah, John Smitty asks, I have a question about third-party wallets. I was looking to add ICP to my Ledger portfolio, and I saw when I went to add the account, it said that I need a third-party wallet. Yeah, so ICP, I don't think that, that's Internet Computer. I remember that. Yeah, so we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. When you need to use your Ledger Nano with other third-party wallets, there isn't a whole lot to be concerned about there. We do have the ICP app that you can install on your Ledger Nano so that you can go out and use the third-party wallet for ICP with your Ledger Nano. And you can really think about a third-party wallet as just a substitute to Ledger Live, right? So you connect your Ledger Nano to Ledger Live, or you can connect it to a third-party wallet, and they're going to show you the exact same accounts. And there's not too much to be concerned about there, right? Your Ledger Nano, I'll go through this quick because some other folks have already heard this. Your Ledger Nano doesn't trust any sort of third-party wallet any more than it trusts Ledger Live. It doesn't trust Ledger Live either, right? So in either case, whether you're connecting to Ledger Live or you're connecting to a third-party wallet, your Nano will never ever give out your 24-word recovery phrase or any of your private keys to those wallet address or those wallet providers. The only information that it's providing is public information, right? So that it can go and see your accounts on the blockchain and display them to you. So in both cases, from a security standpoint, there's no difference there, really. They're both pretty similar in nature, so to speak. Not the only, but one of the main caveats to using Ledger Live over third-party wallets is clear signing, right? So if you connect your Nano to the ICP wallet, whatever that is, I'm not too familiar with that network, but I'm sure there's a wallet out there that can connect to the Nano. You're not going to be able to clear sign, right? So when you're trying to sign a transaction with ICP, there might be a lot of mumbo jumbo on your Ledger device that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to the human mind. But with Ledger Live, when you're signing a transaction, it's all human readable information. So you know exactly what is happening in that transaction. That's one of the main caveats. But in terms of the meat and potatoes of the security question, you're just as secure connecting to Ledger Live as you are these third-party wallets. Let's see, what else we got here? What XTC third-party wallet recommended? That's from Brazen of KP. Brazen of KP, I would recommend My Crypto. My Crypto is pretty good, and it supports the XDC network, and it follows the same derivation path as Ledger Live would for deriving that address. So I would definitely go with My Crypto. I actually recently heard that My Ether wallet has brought back custom derivation paths. If so, you might be able to use My Crypto wallet as well to be able to access your XDC, because you'll be able to define the correct derivation path. That might sound a little bit confusing, and that's totally okay. If you want to submit a ticket at support.ledger.com, we can help get you connected to both of those wallets so that you can view and manage your XDC that you're securing with your Nano. Rick Caruso, thanks. Yeah, thanks for all the feedback. Glad that Zilliqa's working for you. Yeah, all transaction fees, ETH, Bitcoin, everything is pretty dang high right now. John Makengo asks, can I put Euro on my ledger? Unfortunately not. Your ledger is designed to hold crypto assets, not fiat currencies. Let's see. Sorry, Rick Caruso. I appreciate all the questions. I'm gonna try to dig into some of these other folks as well who haven't gotten a question answered yet. GM for Life asks, why is it that the older Ledger Nano X you can install Hedera without the Hashpack wallet? So you can install the Hedera app on the Nano without the wallet. Of course, you've got to install the app first on the Nano device. But when it comes to creating your first Hedera account, you first have to do that through Hashpack. Colin Henley asks, can I buy Terra Luna now that it was cleared? I'm not really sure. I'm not up to date on Terra Luna stuff, and plus I try to stick away from any sort of like buying and selling talk. It's really this is really tech support in terms of Ledger tech support. So I don't want to advise you to buy or do anything except use your Ledger device. So. All right. Victoria says, I'm confused with how to access MetaMask tokens Arbitrum. I purchased and then sent them through Ethereum address to my ledger. Yeah, so Arbitrum and Ethereum, they're going to share the same address. What it really comes down to is what network did you send the tokens over? So Arbitrum is Ethereum compatible network, and any Ethereum compatible network is going to share the same address. Your address in the Ethereum ecosystem is often referred to as your EVM address, and that stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine. So a lot of these EVM networks that you're working with, whether it's Binance, Smart Chain, Arbitrum, Polygon, all of those EVM networks, they're going to share the same address. So you're sending funds to the same address. You're just doing it over different networks. So it really comes down to whether you sent it over the Arbitrum network or if you sent it over the Ethereum network. That'll just denote what network you need to connect to be able to see those tokens. So if you sent, it just depends, yeah, like I said, what network you sent it over. So you can actually, if you sent it from an exchange, just go to your withdrawal history and check what network you used. If you sent it from a wallet, you should be able to see your Ethereum address. Obviously, you can just search that in Etherscan. or Arbitrum scan, and it'll tell you which network, if it was on Etherscan or Arbitrum scan. If you send it over Arbitrum, it won't show up on Etherscan and vice versa. So that's one way to check as well. Alex Milan, XTC can't be sent to KuCoin from KuCoin to Ledger without going to. Oh, I see. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, XTC is similar to like an EVM network as well. So it actually shares the same address in some aspects. XTC likes to denote the first 3 characters of their address with XDC, but you could actually replace that with OX and in many cases, and it's the same address. So you can send XDC from KuCoin to your XDC address without having to go anywhere, right? You could just have your public address stored somewhere, and you just copy paste it into the destination field when you're withdrawing from KuCoin. I think what your question might be is, hey, why do I have to use a third-party wallet to get that address for the first time? Like, why do I have to go copy it from a different third-party wallet? And it's just simply because we don't support viewing and managing XTC accounts yet in Ledger Live. So you have to use a substitute for Ledger Live, which in many cases is MyEtherWallet. GM for Life asks, what's the best DeFi exchange for all tokens? Like I kind of alluded to earlier, I don't like talking about any sort of buying, selling, or trading. This is purely a tech support channel. We do have some great DeFi exchanges available inside Ledger Live. So go ahead and head over to the Discover tab, and you'll be able to see like Paraswap and 1inch are a couple options within Ledger Live that are great options to choose from. So that'd be a good place to start. Conservative Hero. For some reason, every time I try to transfer tokens from Nano S, it keeps sending me an error message even though I've approved through my device. Conservative Hero, we're kind of coming short on time here, but if you could let me know what that error message is, I'd be able to help. There's a variety of different error messages you could be seeing, and without knowing the details of the error message, there's not really a lot I can help with there. So I'm looking to put all my crypto, Sweet and Sour, asks, I am looking to put all my crypto in my Ledger Nano and not touch it for at least 5 years. It's possible to do this and come back after 5 years and face no issues. One thing to keep in mind, Sweet and Sour, is you're not putting anything into your Nano, right? No funds are going in your Nano. It's common misconception that your Nano is like a USB drive and you're like uploading tokens into it like you would upload files into a USB drive. And that's not really what's going on here. What the Nano is holding is your 24-word recovery phrase, which is the backup to all of your private keys to all of your accounts on the blockchain. So in a way, all it's really holding is all of your keys to your accounts that are on the blockchain. But all of your funds and all of your accounts and everything lives on the blockchain. It doesn't live in Ledger. Whether it's Ledger Live or your Ledger device, it doesn't live in either of those. It lives on the blockchain. So your Nano is just protecting that recovery phrase and its private keys. So yeah, to answer your question, you could come back in 20 years, and as long as the internet is still up and running, if you have access to your 24 words, you'll have access to your accounts. So let's hope that the internet is still running in 20 years. But yeah, in terms of what might be your actual question, jokes aside, hey, will my Ledger device still be working in 5 years? Yeah, absolutely. These are very durable devices because they're very simple, right? They're not doing a whole lot. There's not really, there's not a whole lot of upkeep that the device needs. It's simply here to store that recovery phrase and help you sign transactions. And that's really it, right? It's not doing a whole lot. So it doesn't go through a whole lot of stress. So the devices are durable. They last a really long time. You should have no issues using your device 5 years from now. And keep in mind, your device does have a 2-year warranty, so keep that in mind. Maybe not wait 5 years to double check that your device is still working. Maybe shorten that to 1 year and 11 months so that you'd be able to double check that everything's working great and that you don't need to file for a replacement. Bill says I worded it wrong. I meant to claim my rewards from my wrapped flare. I don't know what address it's sent to. Not on my MetaMask or Ledger accounts. Ooh, that's tough. As a self-custody product, like we don't have any access to your information or the things that you've done in the past. Everything that we know is just public information on the blockchain that you would provide us. So I would never know what your XRP address is without you giving it to me because I just would have no way of knowing that. So yeah, if you're not sure what address your tokens are associated to, there's nothing we could really do to help there. I mean, we couldn't really help unless we knew where your tokens were, and then we could help you like get access to that. But yeah, if the basis of the problem is you're not sure what address you sent things to, there might be very little we could do to help there. Yeah, I covered it earlier. Brinks Box Bova. The device is designed to hold cryptocurrencies, not fiat currencies. So unless there's a central bank digital currency in the future, then other than that, no. What's the difference between Ledger Live and an exchange platform like Binance? Great question. Yeah, they're definitely different in nature. So your exchange like Binance and Coinbase and things like that, they're great for buying and selling and trading and doing a lot of high volume activities. It's a great place to on-ramp into cryptocurrency. There's definitely good use cases for exchanges, and I'm sure there's a lot of exchanges out there that are out there operating in good faith. I know there are, right? There are good exchanges out there that are operating in good faith. We at Ledger, we're not here to operate as an exchange. We're here to be your self-custody product. So when you're buying and sell, when you have an account on the exchange and you're buying and selling cryptocurrencies, with your accounts and what have you, the exchange actually owns the private keys to all of the tokens that you're buying and selling and trading on the exchange. So you actually don't even own those tokens. If somebody were ever to want to be a malicious actor and just take all of those funds away, they could because they own the private keys to those funds. So that is the risk of using an exchange. If anything were to happen to whatever exchange that you're using, if anything were to happen, right, they own the private keys to those tokens and coins, and you wouldn't have access to them. But the Ledger products are here for self-custody, right? So once you purchase those tokens from exchange or something, the idea is to be able to secure them on your own, right? Generate your own 24-word recovery phrase, have your own private keys that only you have access to, and you can send your funds to those accounts so that you are the sole owner of those accounts. So yeah, Ledger Live is great to transact and to monitor your transactions and things like that, but it's not going to be here to it's not here to help you trade, do like daily trading and stuff like that you would typically find on an exchange. The support know about the passphrase 25th word or sentence? My question does get misunderstood and not addressed anymore, unfortunately. Let me see if I can find what you were asking, Skyfall. Oh, I see. You're asking, can you check the 25th word on your device? Yeah. So yeah, the recovery check app doesn't have the option to check the 25th word, the passphrase on your device. So yeah, when you write down that passphrase word, you want to make sure. And to be honest, you're not really going to have as meant as you have one word for your 25th word rather than 24. So management of that one word should be a lot easier. So when you derive that 25th word and you're using accounts associated with that 25th word, that's a completely different set of accounts from your 24 word recovery phrase, right? Your 24 word recovery phrase has its own unique list of accounts, and then you add a 25th word on there, and then it's going to generate a completely separate list of accounts. When you do the recovery check using the recovery check app, it's only looking at your 24 word recovery phrase, not your 25th. Rick Caruso, yeah, absolutely. I love the feedback. Yeah, we're happy to help. We love doing this stuff, and we love helping out. Cool. Yeah, I think that wraps things up. Oh, Jose had a quick question about Kcoin. Let's see. Yeah, so it looks like Ledger does support Kcoin on both the Ethereum and the Binance Smart Chain network. So you can send those tokens to your EVM address, your Ethereum or your Binance Smart Chain address. And depending on depending on what network you send those tokens on, will depend on what account they show up in. So if you send it over the Ethereum network, it'll show up in your Ethereum account. If you send it over the Binance Smart Chain network, it'll land and show up in your Binance Smart Chain account. So that's a quick one to end on. All right, cool. All right, I think this was this was a good time. Sorry again for those that are still here from the audio issues there. We'll get that smoothed out next time. But thank you everybody for joining. Remember, not your keys, not your crypto. Never give out your 24 word recovery phrase or digitize it in any way. You only want to keep that thing on your Nano device and on a sheet of paper and nothing else. No one ever needs your recovery phrase for anything. Always be mindful of what you're signing. And if you're ever in doubt and you have questions, be sure to contact us at support.ledger.com before you do anything that you're unsure of. We're always happy to help and help you sort through things. So thanks again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and we will see you next time. We'll be here live Friday in just a couple days, doing a live onboarding at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're interested in that and you want to come join in, please do, and we'll see you there.